Good morning, everyone. This week, we will be having the discussion of the lesson in the first quarter of health. The topic for health this first quarter is all about the concept of community and environmental health. Let's begin with the lesson. This unit will introduce you to the concepts of community and environmental health, to make you be aware of the importance of having a healthy community. Specifically, this module will help you to explain the concept of community health and environmental health and describe the characteristics of a healthy community. First, I want you to try to think about what is the difference between community and environment. Community is defined as a sociological group in a large place sharing one environment. It therefore includes the individual and the family. So a community is composed of you as an individual and your family as a sociological group, and you all share one environment, while environment is the surrounding in which you live in. In other words, environment is the place where you and your family is staying. So now, how can you describe a healthy community? Or, when can we say that a community is healthful for the people living in it? A healthy community reflects a sense of well-being. It is the foundation for achieving all other goals and is essential for a productive society. Thus, it also helps in building our country's economy and in equipping our students to be healthier in order to learn and succeed academically. So in this module, we will encounter social issues and problems involving the threats of community and environmental destruction. As a student, you can take part in maintaining and promoting a healthful community and environment. This module is designed for you to reflect on how healthy your community and environment are, what activities that adversely affect them, and what you should do to sustain community and environmental health. According to the World Health Organization or WHO in 2002, the characteristics of a healthy community include the following: a clean and safe physical environment, an environment that meets everyone's basic needs, an environment that promotes social harmony and actively involves everyone, an understanding of local health and environment issues, a community that participates in identifying local solutions to local problems, a community whose members have access to varied experiences, means of interaction, and communication, accessible and appropriate health services and facilities, the promotion and celebration of historical and cultural heritage, a diverse and innovative economy, and lastly, a sustainable use of available resources for all. After learning what a healthy community is, we will now be focusing on two different topics. First is the different kinds of refuse materials, and later, the second one is the different environmental problems. So let's start with the lesson on refuse. When we say refuse, if we use it in the context of community and environmental health, refuse are the dump, food waste, or discarded materials. It is composed of solid, semi-solid, liquid, and gas materials. Basically, refuse materials are those things that we don't want or need anymore, so we put it in the trash. Sa madaling salita, mga bagay na ayaw na natin, or mga bagay na hindi na natin kailangan kaya tinatapon na natin. Now, there are many kinds of refuse materials, and we will learn what these different kinds of refuses are. The first kind is what we call rubbish. These are waste materials such as bottles, broken glass, tin cans, waste papers, discarded porcelain wares, pieces of metal, and other wrapping materials. Usually, these are the things that can be found in junk shops. Second kind of refuse is called garbage. This refers to leftover vegetables, animal and fish material food in kitchen and establishments. So now you know that garbage is not a general term sa lahat ng klase ng basura na nakikita natin. Kasi di ba usually ang tawag natin sa mga basura ay trash or garbage. But actually, garbage only refers to the leftover foods from our kitchen or from other establishments. The third kind is yard cuttings. So pag sinabi nating yard, ito ay ang ating bakuran. And usually, sa mga bakuran, nandito yung halaman, puno, or the garden area. So yard cuttings are those leaves, branches, grass, and other similar materials produced during cleaning of gardens or after typhoons. The fourth kind is called street night soil. This consists of human waste normally wrapped and thrown into sidewalks and streets. It also includes human waste from the pail system. So basically, street night soil is yung mga nakikita natin na dumi na nakabalot sa diapers or napkins dahil ito ay mga human waste or mga dumi na galing sa tao. Again, we call this street night soil. If human wastes are called street night soil, animal wastes are called stable manure. This includes animal wastes from barns, stables, or the likes. Again, stable manure ay mga dumi ng hayop and usually marami nito sa mga farm areas. The last kind is called ashes. So when we say ash, alam na natin ito sa Tagalog ay abo. So ashes are residues from fires used for cooking, left over from burning wood, and heating and from on-site incineration. So those are the different kinds of refuse materials. Now, as we all know, maraming tao ang walang disiplina at kung saan-saan lang nagtatapon ng kanilang mga basura or refuse materials. And this has become our country's problem. So, how do you think can we lessen the amount of these refuse materials in our environment? So here's one way to lessen our environmental and community problems through the law RA number 9003. Based from the Republic Act number 9003, also known as the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, a highly recommended formula is to adopt the 3 R's of ecological waste management. These 3 R's stand for reduce, reuse, and recycle, which I know you are all familiar with. Pero ano nga bang ibig sabihin ng reduce, reuse, at recycle? When we say reduce, in Tagalog, this means bawasan or magbawas. So reduce is cutting back on the amount of trash that we make, meaning magbawas tayo ng ating mga basura. But how? One example is yung mga ginagawa ng other restaurants these days wherein they don't give straws anymore para mabawasan ang paggamit at pagtatapon ng mga used straws. Another is yung mga supermarkets na instead na plastic bag ang ginagamit pambalot ng groceries, They give paper bags so they can lessen the plastic waste. Next is reuse. This means finding a new way to use trash so that we don't have to throw it out. Ibig sabihin, yung mga bagay na patapon na, instead na itapon mo agad, isipin mo muna na baka may pwede ka pang gawin sa bagay na yon na magiging useful para sa iba or para sa'yo. And the last one is recycle. This is the process of making used materials that are to be disposed already into useful ones that can be sold again. It is also the cheapest way of disposing waste materials. Sa pag-recycle, ito yung paggawa mo ng mga bagay galing sa mga basura na pwede mo pang pagkakitaan. Another way of disposing waste materials is composting. This is the cheapest way of disposing waste materials. It is a form of waste disposal where organic waste decomposes naturally under oxygen-rich conditions. It is an easy, profitable way of disposing your wastes. Applicable ito sa mga garbage dahil ito yung mga basura na pwede mong ihalo sa lupa at gawing pataba sa mga halaman instead na idiretso mo agad sa basurahan. So those are all the discussions on the first topic about refuse materials. We will now proceed to the next topic, which is the different environmental problems. In this lesson, you will know the most common problems that we have in our environment and its harmful effects on our health. So before we begin, let's try to guess this word. What do you think is the hidden word behind these jumbled letters? If you answered pollution, then you are correct. Good job! This is now the topic that we are going to talk about, the different kinds of pollution and its harmful effects. The first kind that we are going to talk about is called air pollution. This means any alteration of the physical, chemical, and biological properties of the atmospheric air. The air around us become polluted when we release harmful materials into the atmosphere in big amounts. These materials are usually gases, very tiny or fine solid particles, and droplets of liquids. When you breathe in polluted air, these chemicals will enter your lungs. So ano-ano nga ba yung mga harmful chemicals na nasa air na pwedeng maging cause ng sakit sa atin once na malanghap natin ito? First is what we call carbon monoxide. This is a colorless, odorless gas. When it enters the body, it robs the brain cells of oxygen. This can lead to brain damage. Second one is sulfur dioxide. It is a foul-smelling gas that can irritate the nose and skin and cause respiratory ailments. The third one is lead. This is a heavy metal which can cause cancer and brain damage. Fourth one is nitrogen dioxide. It causes serious lung damage with delayed effects. It also causes shortness of breath and chest pains. And the last one is particulates. This is a very tiny particle that is a mixture of solids and liquids. Examples are dusts and mists. These have been linked to various respiratory ailments including asthma. Now moving on to the next kind of pollution, we have land pollution. The land becomes polluted when it is filled with solid wastes that cannot be broken down easily into very tiny pieces, either by mechanical force or by the action of bacteria. Land pollution usually happens because people don't do waste segregation or yung mga tamang pagsisegregate ng basura. There are two types of wastes. These are the biodegradables and non-biodegradables. When we say biodegradable, these are wastes that can be broken down easily by bacteria. For example, leftover foods and animal wastes na nabubulok at pwedeng gawing pataba sa lupa. The other kind is non-biodegradable, which are wastes that cannot be broken down by bacteria. For example, plastic, styrofoam, metals, at mga bagay na hindi nabubulok at hindi pwedeng itapon na lang kung saan-saan. This is the reason why we should know how to segregate wastes para maihiwalay natin ang mga nabubulok sa hindi nabubulok. The third kind of pollution is water pollution. This means any alteration of the chemical properties of a body of water resulting in the impairment of its purity and quality. This pollution may cause cholera, diphtheria, and diarrhea if taken. Pwede tayong magkaroon ng mga ganitong sakit, cholera, diphtheria, or diarrhea if makainom tayo ng marumi or infected na tubig na hindi na-filter ng maayos. And the last kind is noise pollution. This is the excessive sound that causes hearing loss, stress, fatigue, irritability, tension, headaches, and high blood pressure. Too much noise in our environment can actually cause harm to our health. Kapag sobrang ingay ng ating paligid, hindi tayo makakapag-relax at makakapagpahinga ng maayos. And kapag hindi tayo nakakapag-relax, this may cause hearing loss, stress, fatigue, irritability, tension, headaches, or even high blood pressure dahil sa stress mo sa ingay ng paligid. That's why noise pollution is already one kind of pollution that affects our health. So those are all the different kinds of environmental problems and its harmful effects in our health. And that will be all our lesson in health for the whole first quarter. Now, I will give you the instructions kung ano-anong activity ang kailangan nyong sagutan in all your 4 modules in health. For Health Module 1, you have to answer let's try, let's recall, let's elaborate the Venn diagram, let's apply, and let's evaluate. For Health Module 2, you have to answer let's try, let's recall, and let's dig in the health alphabet. For Health Module 3, you have to answer let's try, let's elaborate, let's dig in, and let's evaluate. No need to answer the activities in Module 4. Just some reminders for answering. You may answer through the Google Form links posted in our Facebook page group or through writing an answer sheet and then send it to me through chat. I hope you finish answering all the health modules for this week. That will be all for today, and thank you for listening. See you again in our next lesson.